change in India. I mean, we have done some. We had the first strike. I told you a ground strike in Uri. We had the air strike in Balakot. This time we had more on missiles and drones. It is all part of a change in our doctrine. I will not explain in great detail. This is more for the military people. We had a cold start doctrine. Those who are studying it will know what is cold start. Incidentally, cold start was designed in 2003-04, never published anywhere. In fact, there are statements of people to say we don't have a cold start doctrine because we were keeping it concealed.
So Dr. Bakshi, congratulations on the book. If you can explain what you mean by Red Lines Redrawn.
So here is this book, Red Lines Redrawn, Operation Sindoor and India's New Normal. So since you asked about naming of the book, it would have been very easy to simply say Operation Sindoor and say something about India's new normal. But when you see Red Lines Redrawn, it is a play on two things. One is the Sindoor itself is a red line, right? And second is, if you've understood from the discussion, the way we deal with conflict situations and the way we have now drawn our own red lines is part of the new normal. So it's an interplay of all these things. So I hope that answers the question about the title of the book.
Right. So in this new normal, is India in the position to flex military muscle, at least in Southeast Asia?
So the major difference between the previous doctrine and now the newly evolved doctrine is that we have shifted from a defensive posture of deterrence by denial to a posture of punitive deterrence. We are now demonstratively capable of taking military action without declaring war. Whereas earlier, the whole concept of use of military force was large-scale attacks to the extent of, I would say, for a layman, thousands of Indian troops crossing various borders, minimum 1,000, going up to 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 troops crossing the border. But now we are doing it without anyone crossing the border. We are doing it without declaring war. We are doing it in a very specifically targeted manner to take out specifically non-military targets which are hurting us through the proxy war. And if any other situation develops, we may be able to do a similar surgical action. And we are able to do it without the declaration of war. So it's a very much enhanced range and scope of military options.
Right. So while the entire country is so proud of Operation Sindoor and what the military did, don't you think that our intelligence should also be, it should be more strengthened so that we can avoid Pulwama or pahalgam like incidents?
So if you have gone through the various data in my book, this was the first time random Indian tourists were ever attacked. Even at the peak of militancy, when there were 5,000 incidents happening per year, even at that time, Indian tourists were never targeted. In the first 10 years of the Kashmir militancy, around 1990 to 2000, there were 7 or 8 instances of foreign tourists being kidnapped. They are primarily being kidnapped with a view to internationalize the issue and with a view to holding hostages to release terrorists in captivity. Tourists were never targeted for the simple reason that a large part of the Kashmir economy runs on tourism. And going against a tourist in Kashmir was not appreciated by the people of Kashmir. Therefore, Pakistan refrained from doing it. Now, your intelligence and your security deployment is a function of calculated risks. There is today a risk that the roof might fall on my head. But I know there's a 99% chance it may not happen, so I don't wear a helmet when I'm inside the building. But when I'm on a two-wheeler in the street, the chances of my having an injury on my head rise exponentially, so I wear a helmet. I'm just trying to draw a simple parallel that, to my mind, it was not such an entirely intelligence failure. The place where this pahalgam attack took place was a place where only Indian tourists were going, There were no local population. There had been no incidents of terrorism before, and there was no reason to believe that there might be an attack. So it was a calculated risk that we permitted these tourists to go without having a very strong security force deployment. There's always a payoff between how much force you deploy and how much cost it is to your other operations. So within that risk and reward calculation, we had this issue.
Right. So, considering this, what you said, in this new normal, are we also considering the unexpected and taking steps to strengthen the intelligence and military ops?
Yeah, definitely. We are strengthening our grid. This question was asked. We have network centricity. We have more satellite surveillance. We have more communication and technical intelligence, and we are going to take steps that such incidents don't take place. But having been a military man, I can tell you there is no defense is 100% foolproof. However, we are always trying to get there.
Right. You also mentioned during your session about we stopped the operation. So we gave a message that we can start it, we can stop.
Yes.
However, in this connection, what do you have to say about the US narrative, where Trump tom-tommed the narrative,
Yes.
saying that he was the one?
So incidentally, I have mentioned this in my book. There are back-channel diplomacy, there are talks which go on behind the scenes, and there are agreements which are reached on mutual understanding, and then finally there are announcements. Mr. Trump does not understand that there is something called back-channel, something called front-channel. He comes on a personal tweet and claims that he has stopped the war when both the sides have not even yet made the official announcement. So that is one part. The other part is he claims mediation, and if you understand mediation, you have to have two parties on the table and the mediator on the same table. And all three have to discuss an issue and options have to be discussed, and there is a give and take, and then finally you mediate and you ensure a solution comes. A tripartite discussion, even on a Zoom call or a phone call, never happened. There is no question of mediation. So he just doesn't understand what is diplomacy, and unnecessarily his statements are causing a flutter.
Right. Sir, last questions. My last question. In this context, we also discussed about the political intervention or the political role in military operations. So, as a military person from the other side, from the defense side, how much do you think the political interference or political role should be there when it is a military operation?
This question was asked. It is never a purely political or a purely military decision. It is a political-military decision which is taken jointly by the political and military hierarchy, and I think we are doing quite well on this.
Thank you so much.
And the NSG went there, and in that operation, Lieutenant Colonel Niranjan died in the whole process. So in 2016, I decided to write his story, and I have published this like a war comic. So that is how it started. 2016, my journey, and 16 Pathankot to 25 pahalgam, and now it is the book which you're talking about. So